Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. Guys, did you know that this Friday is going to be Friday the 13th? My wife told me about it yesterday. She was putting together some crafts for Halloween. The kids were making some stuff, and she got very excited because this Friday is Friday the 13th. And I think that's pretty awesome. I don't know why I like that so much, but it's going to be Friday the 13th in Crystal Lake, so that'll be fun to announce on the live stream. But today is just Wednesday, and we got a couple things to go over today. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast, on the audio-only version. Hopefully, you guys are having a nice balmy run. I don't think I'm going to be able to get a run in today. Maybe I will later on this evening. But it'll have to be like on the treadmill or in the dark, so neither one is ideal. But I'll get to that more in a second. So if you're on a run, enjoy it. Cherish it. And then for everyone else that's watching this later but not live, welcome to the number one running podcast to listen to, where people can complain about things that are very easy for other people to take care of but are somehow very difficult for me or for you. You know, we can share all those things. I'm trying not to be too down about it, but I'm in a little bit of a frustrated mood because I was very excited to get all the Kofuzi Run Club singlets out. They're all bagged. They're ready to go. And then I messed something up. And so I feel like all the work I did last night and this morning aren't wasted. But I just made things really complicated. And it's kind of one of those things where I mentioned to you guys many times where I really don't like to do merch because it requires me to do a lot of things that I don't like to do. I know myself pretty well. I'm 43. I live a pretty self-examined life, you know. I know what I'm not good at, and merch is one of those things. And it's like rearing its ugly head now. I think it'll be all taken care of within the next day or so. So I appreciate your patience as I'm trying to figure it out. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Well, let's see who is here in the chat. Daniel Burton's here. This is Easy 3 Miles Racing, a 5K on Saturday. Nice. So getting some taper miles in. And Robert Stocklaufer says, put me first in line for restock. Also, the A6 piece shirt was really nice at the shakeout. Wearing it now. All right, Robert, I'm glad you like it. You know, I was thinking that I was going to go. I was on my way to the post office today with everything. Here, I'll tell you guys more detail. I messed up the postage on all of the orders. And so I tried to bring it to the post office, and I was like, can you just double check to make sure I did this right? And they were like, no, you did not. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did not mail everything out today. So I've just been on like the support line with Shopify to figure out how to fix it, and I don't think that they had a real good answer for me. So like I was excited thinking I had all these singlets out the door, and I was thinking, let's talk about restock. I did. Rabbit reached out to me and was like, it looks like you guys sold out really fast. Congratulations. It turned out great. Let me know if you want to do another round. And I was like, how long is that going to take? They said 3 to 4 weeks, which if I ordered them today, which I'm probably not going to, I'm a little salty to do it today. It would be cutting it extremely close for New York City Marathon. But it might be available for CIM. So I still need to think about it a little bit. I'm not sure if we're going to do it. I think we need to ask, we can talk about it again once I get the first round of singlets out. That's kind of what I'm doing. That's where my mind's at. That's where my mental state is at today, Robert. I appreciate the support though. Richard Wilson says, about your plans to follow CIM, keep in mind crossing the river. You have to go way around at the J Street Bridge and then find parking at the finish. I think e-bike could stay on the course. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. I don't want to be on the course, but at least maybe then I could be on like sidewalks and stuff. I mean, I guess I'd have to cross the bridge. I guess I'd have to kind of sneak on the course a little bit for that part. Because I don't, is there a sidewalk on that bridge? I think there's a sidewalk on that bridge. There is a sidewalk on that bridge. I've run across it before. So I think maybe that could be it. And then I wouldn't be on the course if I were doing that. But thank you, Richard. That's a good thing to think about. Now I got to figure out how to rent an e-bike while I'm in Sacramento. So I'll have to figure that out too. Mark Peterson says he got his New York City corral assignment yesterday. Super pumped about that. I've been seeing people discussing it in the Discord, which is kind of cool. You guys talking about which colors and stuff you guys had. I was like, I don't even remember what color I was. remember I started on the lower level last year for New York, and people were talking about it like I needed to figure out a way at all costs to not be on the lower level. I thought starting on the lower level was fine. Everyone's like, you got to start higher up. And I was like, it's a hot day. There was at least a little bit more shade, at least running across the bridge, being on the lower level. And I did not get pee rained on me. So I was fine. You know what I mean? All right. Let's see who else we got here. Eliza's here, says, hi, Co-Fam. Glad to be able to join today. I need a work break. Awesome. And Steve76 says, just watched the Japanese channel 2 laps middle distance on Berlin with Hitomi Nia, who won Houston this year. She wore the Evo 1 and ran next to Nick Bester, but looked like she was having a hard time. Oh, really? That sounds like a deep dive. That sentence takes a lot of turns. You watch the Japanese channel 2 laps middle distance. So you go from Japan to Berlin with Hitomi Nia, who won Houston. So you go to Houston. Talking about the Evo ones with Nick Bester, who lives in the UK. That's a very international sentence. But now I want to check that out. Sleeve Singer says, hi everyone, preparing for Co's Nemesis event in Baltimore. I'm only participating in the 5K this time, going to watch my 70-year-old brother run the 10K. Well, that's awesome. You don't have to put only in front of that. You're running in the 5K. Your 70-year-old brother's running the 10K. It's going to be awesome. I hope you have a good time. Sorry. I wish. Now, my understanding is they don't have the relay anymore, right? There used to be a marathon relay. I kind of wish I had that, because then I think I would do that. I do not want to commit to the marathon in Baltimore. But I think I could do a relay if they still had the relay. Maybe. Kyle Massa says, I screamed my face off at mile 26 of Chicago volunteering for most of the race. My voice is almost recovered. I think that's pretty fast. We're at Wednesday. That's good work. I feel like there was a lot of cheering going on. Mile 26 volunteering, that's great. Awesome. All right. Let's see what we got. Let me scroll down and try to catch up with you guys. All right. Nataku says Discord. Kofuzi has Discord. Yeah, Calvin set it up. Calvin Wong set it up. I think he posted a link to it. You know what? I wouldn't even know how to find it. I found it because Calvin gave me a link to it. And then now I just have the app and it just brings it up. But I think he posted the link to it in the Kofuzi Run Club Strava group. That's I think how most people are finding it. But it's fun. Oh, speaking of Calvin, he says, I had the localized pain in my upper hamstring before and it went away with rest and easy runs. This is a first. I don't know what caused it. And the shooting pain through my leg is a first. That's weird, dude. Did you pull your back? Were you doing something weird with your back lately? Oh, man. Hopefully you're okay. Adam says, can Rabbit do the fulfillment for you? I don't know. But it goes back and forth. It's like, well, look, these are dumb mistakes that I'm making. They might be expensive mistakes that I'm making. Not super expensive, but enough to sting a little bit. But it's just like, once I figure these things out, well, then, maybe I can train someone else to do them. You know what I mean? So I just got to figure out the system to do it. And right now, I'm not super eager to dive into more projects, but it is one of the things that I was going to announce for today. So, speaking of Rabbit, so at the meet and greet, everyone that came got a Chicago Rabbit, like a shoe bag, and then they also got one of these koozies, which is pretty cool. It was like the Chicago Blue, non-elite, Fleet Feet, and Rabbit. And for some reason, I'm guessing it had to do with how many they had to order at once to do an order. And I know when you buy koozies, you got to buy a lot at once. They were like, do you want them? And I was like, well, I don't need that many. I don't need that many koozies. So I was like, you guys don't want them? They're like, we'll take some to give to some of our staff and stuff, but you should give out the rest of them. And so I was like, okay, I will take them. So I've got like half a box full of all these Non-elite koozies. Speaking of shipping nightmares, koozies. Maybe I could figure it out better the second time around. So this will be more practice. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to get these to you guys. I was thinking, well, I'll just bring them to New York and hand them out at New York. But I think that might be hard to kind of find all you guys to give these to you. So my current plan, and this is going to take a while because I'm not going to bite off any more things before I figure out the first round of singlets and get those out the door. But once I do, then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these basically free, and then you guys will help me pay for shipping. That's it. So if anyone wants a non-elite koozie, please take off my hands, because like there's nothing that hurts my soul more than a box full of koozies just sitting at my house. So hopefully we can get rid of those. So in case you guys want to have some. All right. So that's one of the announcements. There was another. Oh, I had another announcement, but we'll hold on that because we got a lot of stuff going on right there for now. Mark Peterson wants a Kofuzi koozie. Awesome. Tony's here. What's going on, Tony? He says, back from Chicago and feeling good. Going to be pushing a rider for Ainsley's Angels at the Long Beach Half this Sunday. Feels great to run for those who can't. That's super cool. That's super cool. What kind of, do you have to train? Do you have to practice with them a lot before that, Tony? That's what I want to know. Steven C1984 says, we got to have daddy-daughter work day, mailing singlets. Yeah, part of me, and I had thought about this already. I've been thinking about it already a lot. Is like, well, I got a lot of nieces and nephews, and now they're adults. Some of them are adults. I'm like, can I pay them to come out with me for a weekend somewhere and handle merch? That's kind of what I was thinking. Not because not necessarily because I, only can have my relatives do it, but I'm like, well, this lets them travel a little bit and helps me out, and hopefully we can have some fun. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I was thinking. Got a lot of nieces and nephews. That's what I'm thinking about. Daniel says, can you get some advice from SJD on shipping merchandise? Yeah, maybe I'll reach out. I've already reached out to like Robbie and Thomas about it and stuff too, but I think that their solution is that they have people. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, oh, okay. So I didn't get to work on a video this morning because I'm working on shipping. And then I don't get to go for a run this afternoon because I'm working on shipping. So I'm like, see, this is why you gotta get other people to do these things, because I don't like doing them. I'm not good at them. I'm gonna get good at it. I'm not gonna allow myself to just not figure it out. So I'll figure it out, as painful as the process may be. But we'll see. Sorry, I'm going like backwards from you guys in the chat. Master Runner says, thumbs down the marathon relays. They tried that at Disney World a few years. Oh, did they? I didn't know that. That sounds like fun too. The hard thing with the marathon relays is it's a logistical problem. Speaking of logistical problems, because then you got to drive people all sorts of places. You know what I mean? If you just do shorter distances, everyone gets themselves to the start or whatever. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to bus people, but it's just, I think that makes sense. Sleep Singer says, there's no relay now. She used to run leg 4 of that. Yeah. I just think that, like, I understand why race directors might not love it, but I like it. Steve Zabrowski says, I work in logistics. Shipping singlets is like a marathon. Once you do it once, you know you got a better one in you and you're prepared better the next time. Thank you, Steve. That's what I was hoping for. Those are the words of encouragement that I needed. Because I messed up the koozies the first time around, and that's why I don't do international shipping. The main reason why I don't do international shipping. And so I think I could get it. I can get it. I could do it. It's just gonna take a lot of hair pulling on my part, but I'll make sure not to pull any from the front where the hair's receding. Pull it from the back. All right, Video Guy Man 7 says, thanks for a great weekend in Chicago. It was great to interact with so many people in the co-fam. Everyone was so nice. On top of that, I PR'd by 9 minutes. Awesome. He had a 3:51 in Houston and down a 3:42 on Sunday. There we go. Just chopping away. That's great. Love to hear that. That's so cool. And Martha says, I need interns to help. Yeah, I mean, I would like, so, yeah, I don't know if, I don't love the idea of interns because I feel like interns are taken advantage of a lot of time. I wouldn't mind like someone that's doing like working while they're in school kind of thing, but for helping me with merch and stuff, I don't know. I don't know how to involve more people. And my rule for a very long time with everything involving, running and social media has been, if you need more people, you need to tone it down. Let's think of something else to do. Because I've been just trying to intentionally very much to keep small. But now I do have Daniel, who edits the clips from the live stream, and that's what goes up on Instagram and on YouTube Shorts. So I'm slowly starting to collect people to help. So maybe this is something else I need to do too. I've asked many other people if they want to do the fulfillment for me, and they've all said no. Because I think no one likes this. None of my friends like it. So we'll figure it out. All right. Amichite says, I paid for shipping to get a Kofuzi koozie. I don't think the shipping, I hope the shipping wouldn't be that much. So, yeah. So Martha says, it's a good suggestion to include them in the packages with the singlets if they aren't all sealed already. Yeah, I thought about doing that, but then I was also like, well, then we can get the koozies to people who didn't get a singlet, So I was just like, that would be more fun. The other thing I don't have a hard time with about it is that like, I'm not trying to collect everyone's addresses. I've never asked you guys for like phone numbers or email addresses or anything like that. But it's just like, well, I gotta. That's why I've like thought like just bringing them to New York would be best. But like, that might be harder because I don't know if I'm gonna be doing something with Fleet Feet. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing something with Rabbit. So that might be kind of weird to go to like someone else's event and give out different logo stuff. So that's figuring out how to do it all. I kind of need like an office person. That's kind of what I think I need. Someone that can figure out all these things and coordinate all these things. I don't know. I think I'm just complaining. I'm complaining because it's more work-like stuff. And I've been just avoiding work-like stuff for a long time. So I just got to, take a deep breath and get it done. Oh, Runner Will, that's very nice. He says, I can help you if you need me. I work from home, so going out to the post is no biggie. I appreciate it. But no, I think once I just got to figure it out. It's very easy for me to procrastinate it because I don't understand it and I feel like I'll mess it up, which I did this time. So there's just little things like that. I just got to get over it. Like Steve was saying, it's like a marathon. Once you do it once, you get another better one in you, and then you keep going from there. Robert says, I was a 3:30 pacer at Chicago. I know you're iffy on if you want to run next year. Have you thought about pacing? Could I get you in contact I could get you in contact with the pace director. There'd be a Kofuzi party pace group. I feel like there's two things with that. If there was like a Kofuzi party pace group, I think people would be disappointed if I didn't provide the booze. So that would be one thing. But being like a 4-hour pacer would be fun. Maybe I could pace 3:30. That would be a little bit more work for me to make sure I could do that. But here's my thing is for next year, I'm hoping to get into Berlin for next year. And I'd like to try to run fast there. So then I don't know what kind of shape I'm going to be in. I'm no Ben Johnson, you know what I mean? So I don't think that I'll be able to PR in Berlin and then come back and run Chicago hard again. And he even PR'd again. So I don't think that would be me. I don't think I've run marathons 2 weekends, like 2 weeks apart before. I don't think. So that's the thing. So I feel like I'll be in very good mood to just spectate Chicago next year. Maybe I'll hang out with Remy. Remy was down at like mile 22 and a half. It might have even been like mile 24. There's the stretch between where you turn around onto Michigan, is it on Indiana or in Michigan, where you turn around from going back south? There's people there. But then before you get to the Abbott kind of like banners area, there's like that kind of really, really dead zone. And Remy was right there. It's perfect. So maybe I'll go hang out with Remy for a little bit and we'll do that, But I think that's kind of where I'm at on that one. Sue says, so who's going to do the Berlin lottery? I'm going to try to, it hasn't happened yet, right? I have to, it's available right now. I got to go get it. I got to go do that. Sean says, if I'm the pacer, I'll just have a fuel belt of Fireball bottles. That would be funny. Just have a utility belt. I would just get a thing of elastic. And then my daughter does know how to sew now. So maybe I could just get her to have me like do little loops all the way around it and just have like, what is that called? A bandolier? What is it? What's the thing called when all the bullets are on a belt? That thing? I need one of those, but with little airplane vials of Fireball or Malort. Oh man. Moonwalker says, can you sew all the koozies together and make a cool jacket? I don't know. That'd be pretty. I mean, I guess it'd just be a. What is this? Is it like a neoprene? It'd just be a giant neoprene jacket. Imagine trying to make a wetsuit out of this, or just like sew them into your pants for cycling, babe. Just get some butt pads in there. There we go. All right. Leo says, why isn't there a review on the Vaporfly 3? Nike did make some changes. I will probably pick up a pair of Vaporfly 3 once the Alpha Fly 3 comes out, and I might do like a joint video on it. Or maybe at some point when the Alpha Fly 3 comes out, maybe I'll do like a Nike lineup video. And get like, we'll talk for like Pegasus, the Infinity, Invincible, Vaporfly, and Alpha Fly. So I might do something like that. The next Nike that I'll review is going to be the Vomero. The Vomero 16 was great. We didn't get the Vomero 15 here in the US, but 16 was lovely. I think I don't want to say it's the best Nike shoe that they've made in a long time, because they've made many good shoes, but I like it way more than I liked the Pegasus. And the more I liked the Vomero, the more angry I was about how little I liked the Pegasus. So I'll make a review at some point, but I don't think I'll review it by itself. But Robert, you said you were a 330 pacer. How did the pacing go? Was that super fun? The pacer of I started out by I think either the 410 or the 420 group. That pacer was having a good time. Every time we took a turn, he would do the thing where he waves the stick to which direction everyone should start kind of moving over so they could take the tangent. And then he would tell them, stay on the line. And then he would swing wide and get the crowd all excited and be like, come on, guys, the pace group needs your help. So I was like, oh, I feel like I could do it. If you're allowed to do it that way, then I feel like maybe I could do that. And I feel like, the other thing that I would be like is like, hey guys, if you guys want like a chatty pacer, stick over here by me. If you want the more quiet, head down and run, go talk to someone else. You know what I mean? They'll be like, there's that other flag over there. Follow that flag. Because I feel like I'm chatty on the long run, so I feel like I would just chat people's ear off about it. Robert said he came in at 3:29.08. Beautiful. I was yelling and smiling the whole time. I met so many people. Pacing is much more enjoyable than racing as hard as I can. It does look like fun. I just feel like it'd be sad though, like if you start off with like 100 people and then you end with like 4. I mean, part of it's going to be because some people are feeling good and they go ahead. But like, if you ended up like people who couldn't hang with the pacer, that would be hard. Vietnam says, what I love about pace groups is that you can chat people's ear off and the pacers can't do anything about it. That's funny. Brian Lang says, do I know enough dad jokes to be a pacer? No, I don't, but I feel like I could just talk to people about like, oh, hey, I'd be like, this used to be a Chipotle. I'd be like, this giant new grocery store, do you know what it used to be? It used to be a different grocery store, but the grocery store burned down 18 years ago, and it took 5 years for it to become something. It just sat empty for a really long time. And I'd be like, hey, guess what? Now we're on mile 8. So I just tell them stories about stuff that used to be stuff. That's what it would be. People would be like, I know a lot of minutia about street level retail in Chicago by the time that they left. Isaiah says, I love chatty pacers. Take the pressure off all us introverts. Yeah, I think that, yeah, I like it too. Vietman says the Kofuzi pace group will have 100 runners all with GoPros. I feel like, maybe the Chicago Marathon would be like, these selfie sticks are becoming a problem. Can you just be like the selfie stick magnet? Have them all go with you. Then everyone else doesn't have to run around. That would be funny. Brandon Palmer says, every corner you building used to be a Walgreens. There are many former Walgreens along the Chicago Marathon route. You pass one right through Lakeview, where I used to live. That's for sure. I'm trying to think. Is it just one? I think you passed two. I don't know, multiple, just in Lakeview. And Dan Dalton says, is that what people mean by marathon tour? Oh, that's funny. Brian Lang says, that was actually my favorite pacer. Someone who gave a tour of the city. Nice. And Jairus Roy says, a tour of Chicago pace group. It was a great idea. That'd be funny. Maybe I would have to go on, like, I've never been on like the Chicago Ghost Tour, or like what do they call it? It's on that black and white bus. They call it the Ghost Tour, but it's a mafia themed one. I forget what that one's called. Maybe I'll do that one first, because I think maybe on some of those, I don't know if any parts on the north side really have a lot of that history. There's a couple of spots in Old Town that do have some of that history, but I would have to do that. I think it would be best though if all the Chicago trivia I had was absolutely mundane. You know what I mean? Like, this used to be a Jimmy John's, and before that, it sold pho. And before that, it was a dry cleaner. It was like that, and that's all the facts. See that TCBY? It's been a TCBY for 12 years. People were like, what are you talking about? Brian Lang says, though, I heard the Chicago Architecture Tour is really good. I highly recommend the Chicago Architecture Tour. My mom, the first 3 times in a row she visited Chicago, we went on the tour. It's the one you pick it up at Navy Pier and you get on the boat. That one, that's the best one. I could go on it again. Like, I could always go on it again. It's so nice, and I mean the views are so nice. Even if you know all the architectural facts, it's just a nice little tour. It's relaxing. Kevin Huang says, unironically, I learned about Chicago architecture because of Transformers 3 back in the day. You know what? They were filming a lot of those scenes the week that I was moving offices in the Loop in Chicago. And there was definitely a part where I was getting yelled at because I was moving a little fridge, because I've never had big offices. That office move we did that one ourselves. And I was moving this little tiny fridge, not bigger than a dorm fridge, but not as big as a regular fridge. And I'm looking at this yellow car, and there's all these people around, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? I'm like, oh, that's Bumblebee. And people were like, you can't be in here, sir. I'm like, I'm moving to my office. And they're like, sir, this road is closed. I'm like, no, it's not. That's my office building right there. You can't close that. And they're like, hurry up. So I thought I was going to accidentally be in a shot. I know they would have just had to retake it, and it would have been pretty expensive. But that's the kind of conversations I've had. Yeah. And I remember there would be fun stuff happening when they shot Dark Knight. There was what's the scene where all the policemen are lined up on LaSalle, and then there's a sniper or something like that. They started filming that at the end of rush hour one day. I think they were trying to get the right light. And I remember being on the train, and I was just seeing all of a sudden all these uniformed people scattering after standing in formation one time. That was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. Daniel Burton says, "Co, are you getting the new Alpha Flight 3? I probably will eventually. I think that many people will be rushing to get it. So I'm not going to be dying to get it first, but I will once it's finally available. That shoe's been in development for so long. But once it's finally available, yeah, I'll pick it up so we can test it out and see how it goes." Christian Perez says, I finished Chicago at 5:54:11. Really stoked that I PR'd from New York City when I came in at 6:14:54. Well, congratulations, Christian. I had fun in it, but I felt like there was a lot of dead spots. I think that it depends on, when you're at 5:54. I was concerned already. I finished at 4:34. That like there were some water tables at like mile 15 or 16 that were starting to get packed up and stuff. So I was like, oh wait, this is happening a little bit too soon. There needs to be more support back here. So I apologize that you didn't get to have that experience, Christian. But I'm happy for you that you got a huge PR. What's that? 18 minutes? That like 14 plus 6, 20 minutes PR. That's amazing. Great job. Lila Lou says, I give my husband the same useless store history when we go to New Orleans. Speaking of the Crescent City Classic 10K in New Orleans, is great and a giant party at the end. That's what I hear. You know who used to tell me about that all the time? Zane Robertson. I would see him at various ASICS events from time to time, and he would be like, you got to come down to this Crescent City. He never invited me to hang out with him there or to run, like to go film him there or whatever, but he's like, you should do it. It's fun. So I was like, oh, okay. And then he had all that stuff happen. So, but maybe I'll still go. I don't think he runs there anymore, but I'll still go. Sega Dreamcast says, I'm going to put in for Chicago 2024 and cross my fingers. I've never been up there. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I was talking with A6 afterwards. They were telling me that Lou Malnati's, the pizza place, was very happy with our group. They said they really loved having us there and stuff. So, maybe that we can repeat that again. Although, with the ticket situation selling out, I'm like, do we need to do it somewhere else? Somewhere that's bigger? Or do we have them try to cater us in different space? But I'm also just like, that's a vendor that's been working with us now for 2 years. They've been really accommodating. And ASIC seems to be happy. I was really happy. I think you guys were all really happy. So I'm like, well, let's just keep it there. And we'll have to figure out another event, So I did 2 events this year. Maybe we need to figure out a third. I don't know. All right. Shrikaliyanap says, running on the bridges with the grillish surface I found tricky last weekend. I felt my foot was going to twist. Any tips? My first time Chicago was last Sunday. Many of the bridges have carpet laid down on them. And I think all of them do at some point. But some of the later bridges, there's only like a strip of carpet on the right-hand side. So that's what I would always look for. And usually if there's carpet, it's not going to be covered. I think one of the first bridges, the whole thing is covered. But the later into the race you get, the bridges only are carpeted on the right-hand side. So look for the carpet is what I would say. Dominic Smirnowski says, I feel like if you actually became the 1 millionth finisher, people would call it fake. I agree, because they're like, oh, like the YouTuber, like the Chicago famous guy. Not to say that I'm famous, but I'm like, the local guy, famous runner guy, was it that? Yeah, of course. But I definitely understood the very real possibility that even if I were the millionth runner, because I run with a selfie stick, which breaks their rules, I don't get invited to Chicago Marathon stuff. You know what I mean? And I think it's because, while they love the publicity, they don't know, none of the race directors like that I run with a selfie stick. And so I just feel like for something like that, they would not let me be the millionth finisher. I mean, I have my theories that I'm not sure the millionth finisher was the millionth finisher. And in fact, by gun time, she was not. Someone else. If you look up 32,025th place, it's not the person that they named. That person came in with 2 other people. I want to imagine she came in holding hands with her friends. But that person came in at 4:56 gun time. Chip time, not gun time. So there's oh, she just happened to be raising money on a charity bib. She just happened to be wearing Chicago Marathon Nike gear. I had all these theories, but I'm like, nah, they probably just picked. The skeptical part of me is like, oh, they just like that person. That's pretty close. Maybe like 15 people came across the line at the same time. Who knows? But so there's part of me that wants to be like, well, I didn't get it, so it must have been rigged. But I'm sure it's just they didn't make a big deal of it, so I'm sure they were just like, oh, whatever. This person. Moonwalker says, as I was running Chicago this year, there was a guy who said to his friend, I'll catch up to you later, and ran into Stan's Donuts to stuff his face with deliciousness. Well, there's a place you're going to stop. Stan's is great. There's 2 Stan's Donuts along the route, and at least 2 that I'm aware of, and they're both in Lakeview, the ones that I know, along the Chicago Marathon route. One is going to be a little bit harder to get in and out of because it's across from where there's the drag stage, which is like across the street from my kid's school. That's also a smaller Stan's, but like I feel like there's always a huge crowd right there, so that might be a harder one to get into. But if you went all the way to Diversey, there's a much bigger Stan's down there. That's probably an easier one to grab a donut from. If you wanted to grab a donut on the go. Maybe you were just like, oh man, these gels I brought with me are not sweet enough, not enough sugar. I need more sugar. Shannon says, maybe this is obvious, but why did Adidas only make 500 Evo Pros and then give them away to shoe reviewers and only have like 400 something to sell? Seems like a bunch of advertising for nothing. Yeah, I don't know, like the number wise, like I don't know why did they even make 500? So there's part of me that's like, seems like they made a lot for no reason. I don't know if it has to do with World Athletics rules in terms of what shoes are eligible to be run in or whatever. But I'm also just like, why didn't they just call it a prototype? Like they could have just called it an Adios Pro prototype and then not used it later. And I'll talk about it when I'll eventually film a review for that shoe. But my ultimate premise for the Evo Pro, to give you guys a preview of my kind of like position on that shoe, is that like Adidas came across something that turned out to be pretty incredible. The only problem is it doesn't last anywhere near as long as it should for something to really sell to the public. It's just you can't sell a one marathon shoe. Not for real. You know what I mean? So they had 2 choices. They could have squirreled it away deep in the archives as this magical thing that came so close to existing, if only they could have figured out the longevity on it. Or they could have just said, hey, this really isn't for public consumption, but isn't it pretty cool? And gave it to a handful of people that could talk about it, reasonably well. So they could test it out and explain it and show the world. Kind of just like it's a concept car, Mercedes has been making like concept electric cars and all this kind of stuff for like decades, BMW has been doing the same thing. Like why did they make those 15 years ago? Because that's kind of road mapping potential, not even road mapping, just like flexing your kind of muscles on things that you're working on and thinking about in a way. So that's kind of how I think about it. It's not seriously a shoe meant for public consumption. CV76 means public consumption. You mean edible? You can lick it. It's tasty. Yeah, that's funny. Is Edbud in here? Everyone's up. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Edbud says, "Hey people, what's going on, Ed? How are you? It's good to see you, man." Super Unjit says about the millionth finisher. I would have been more suspicious if the millionth finisher was like the owner of Wrigley Field. Yeah, I mean, if it was like one of the Ricketts, I would have been really mad about it. Yeah, that would have made me furious too. Or if it was like an alderman, Yeah, people would have been like, oh boy. Mm. Let's see. Shannon says that the mini finisher was cute. I was happy you shared that video, bro. She seemed very excited to be there, and I'm happy for her. And it was nice. It was nice. I feel like the marathon should have done more, but she seemed very happy with the attention. Wallaby says, if the Evo Pro was $300, do you think you would use it regularly? No, I don't think so. Because I mean, I've run like 9 miles in it, right? So I don't know what happens to it once you get to 40 miles or 50 miles or 75 or 100. I don't know that I'm going to run that many. I mean, I'm thinking at some point I'll just be like, this is just not a comfortable shoe anymore, or maybe like it'll start chipping away, or the foam will start getting chewed up or whatever. It's not the price that's keeping. I think the price does a couple of things. It makes it exclusive. It sets headlines. It's good marketing, but it also kind of deters people from buying it and being like, wait, what the heck? Why can I only run one marathon in this? So I think it sets expectations and kind of helps define your potential consumer base. So you're more likely for people to understand what they're getting. Not that it's not about being smart or able to understand, but the type of consumer is not one that's looking for a $500 shoe for one race. Kind of all right, I see maybe where they're going with this. Whereas someone that's well, I just want to PR my next race. I'm like, well, there's many great shoes in the Adidas lineup for that. And this is a little bit different, Calvin Hong says, yay, congratulations for the millionth finisher. Family member of rich local oligarch you despise. Let's all clap. Yeah. All Heart RC says, really good Chicago Marathon video, Mike. Very nice change of pace energy. Well, thank you very much. I had a lot of fun doing it. And Ed says, I'm doing well, Mike. I would love to do Chicago. The guitar shop alone is insane. Donuts and Kofuzi. What more can a runner need? I mean, you should come down. I've been giving 40 runs a hard time for several years now, about how he hasn't come down. So I think he's coming. He says he might be coming next year. So maybe I'm going to start hounding you, that Ed. When are you going to come out here? I'm hoping to go out to London next year. So hopefully I'll see you out there. And I've been telling a lot of people too, and I've been mentioning it to brands that I'd ideally love to do. And it's hard because there's a limit in the amount of time, because Boston's the week prior, and I'd like to be at Boston, but maybe go from Boston on Marathon Monday, fly out Tuesday, and then start it in Scotland and just do shakeout runs all the way down the country. So that's kind of an idea that I would like to pitch to someone. I just don't know who would want to do that, but I've been putting it out there that that's something that I'd love to do, and just go visit you, go visit some runners up in Scotland, maybe head out to Wales. That's the part that's on the western side, right? I'd have to learn some geography, stop by Manchester, maybe, just do just a couple of stops, and then kind of end in London. That's an idea that I'd like to be able to do. Sierra said, yeah, some of the 40 runs team ran it. Yeah, I saw them on the court. Well, I didn't see the runners, but I saw the fan group, the cheer squad, and that was fun. But every other race that I've been to, someone with a 40 runs t-shirt will come up to me and put a phone in my face, and 40's on the other line on a FaceTime. And so he's like, oh, hey, Kofuzi. And I'm like, why do I have to keep seeing you on FaceTime? Why don't you just come to these races? So I'm trying to get him to come out here. Travis says a Europe tour would be so cool, shaking it out through the UK. Calvin says shaking it out through Scotland. I want to go to Scotland, and I want to see the tapestries. I want to see the uniforms. Do they call them tapestries in Scotland? They probably don't. Is that tapestries? Sounds kind of like a French word. I don't know. It's probably a very different word. But I want to see all the unicorns. And I just want to just start up there, work my way down, kind of, I guess. Martha says, just keep saying it, Co, and your wish will be granted. That's what you've earned from being everyone's favorite running YouTuber. I mean, I kept telling everyone about the millionth finisher thing. That's why I kept saying it. Everyone was like, what are your goals? I'm like, well, let me tell you. Someone's going to be the millionth marathon finisher on Sunday, and I want it to be me. So I kept saying that, and I came pretty close. So I feel like, here we go. It says, you'll love London, Mike. I know an ex-pro footballer drove from Scotland to Southwest England in one day. It's so small here. Okay. I know England is bigger than I think it is. But I'm also just like, if I have from like, kind of like Tuesday night, I want to be in London by like Friday night. Well, especially if I'm going to run it, I might want to be there Friday morning or Friday earlier in the day. So it's not a ton of time. So it'd have to be a very efficient trip. But like, it's been 22 years, 23 years, no. I was in London in 2010. I want to say, no. I don't know. It's been a long time, maybe 15 years since I've been in London. I was there with a buddy of mine, the buddy that I ran tunnel marathon with. I stayed with him out in Seattle, and his wife and my wife. None of us had kids at the time, but we did New Year's Eve in London. It was really nice. Martha says I'll need a Scottish translator. Well, I'm hoping Innes could help me out with that one. So I'll just Innes take me around, and he'll tell me what people are saying to me. Sam Barkley said, I go to a Scottish shakeout. I just feel like that'd be fun. And now I know there wouldn't be park run because park runs are only on the weekends. But like, would it be great? I mean, that'd be awesome if I could do like a park run every day. Maybe I could just run a course or something. I don't know. That's kind of a very loose idea, and I feel like it's getting kind of late. That's kind of thing where I need to have if I'm going to have someone kind of finance that for me, I got to get that figured out. Or maybe I just plan it amongst ourselves and we'll figure it out. John Dodgen says, do a fell race in the Lake District. I don't know. The way you guys talk about fell running, I do not think that I can handle that. Plus, I am hoping to run fast in London. So like, I'll be traveling a lot, but I don't want to go too crazy about it. Jeff Elliott says the UK is 300 miles at its widest point, and North Carolina is 503 miles wide. Oh, okay. How tall? The UK is taller than people think, though, or like further north-south. You know what I mean? That's what I think. Travis Fernier says, I know a few runners in my military community here in England who would definitely come out. Well, I just got to figure out, how far is Yeovil from all these other places, I just got to put it on the map, Michael Haney says, hello, everyone. Nice meeting a few of you in Chicago. Good to meet you too, Michael. And Brian says, Kofuzi should do an ultra relay from Scotland to London like Matt did. Oh, did he do one? I didn't know that. Vietnam says, Kofuzi in England YouTube videos are going to start with, yo, cheerio. No, they're going to start with, hello, everybody. Just like Ben Parks does it. That's how I'll do it. And that'll be fun. Super Engine says, for a reference, the internet says that England is 1.7 times bigger than Illinois. Okay. I don't really know Illinois geography all that well either, but it gives me sense. Dan Dalton says, all right, do like Edinburgh, Glasgow, Manchester, Birmingham, London. As many days, easily enough. Edinburgh. Sorry, I said it like an American. All right. Edinburgh, Glasgow, Manchester. I feel like that's a lot of time up north. No? Okay. I'll have to look at a map a little bit more, and I'll have to consult with my UK friends to see where they want to hang. I mean, if they're available, you know. CV76 says, Kofuzi would need to exchange his foreign currency to pounds. I used up almost all my foreigns. So that was fine. My Hungarian foreigns. I've got like $1 left of Hungarian foreigns, and I just kind of given them to the kids to have. I do have a strange amount of Swiss francs in coin form. I don't like the coins in Europe. Like the €2 coin, the $2 Swiss franc coin, that's too much coin. I feel like if it's that much money, it should be paper. Coins, I just don't like the coins. That was bothersome to me. I couldn't figure that out. All right, Dan says, if you do multiple dates, I'll come shake out a few runs. I mean, I think that'd be fun. Maybe I'll just start planning it. And then maybe once I lay it out there, maybe someone will want to join in as a sponsor. I don't know. Calvin says, was there an unboxing today? No unboxing today. I just revealed that the unboxing was letting you guys know that eventually, once I figure out all this shipping stuff, I will put up a link for you guys to grab some quote unquote free koozies. I think the shipping will be less than $1. Hopefully. I don't know. Vietnam says, you're going to need random England geography facts so you can talk the Pacers' ear off in London. The only, I know very few London facts. One that I feel like I would share, though, with like a British, like the Pacers, like very British. Like maybe he talks like 40. I have a really hard time understanding 40 when he gets excited. But like if the Pacer that I have, like the Pacer, not that I'll have a Pacer, but if the Pacer talks like 40, I'm gonna be like, did you know that the Cutty Sark is actually a ship? It's not just a whiskey brand or a rum brand or whatever it is. For the longest time, I didn't know that the Cutty Sark. I thought Cutty Sark was a booze, and it is. I didn't know that there was a ship. I didn't know it was like a famous ship. And I also didn't know that it was early on in the race. For some reason, I thought it was like one of the last things you see. That just, I have a very weird collection of facts and large gaps of knowledge too. All right. All Heart RC says, Long Beach Marathon is this Sunday. Hope you make it to LA in March. We'll have to see. I don't think I'll run. I mean, assuming I can get into London, I think I'll already have like a big stretch of like Boston and then hopefully a UK mini tour and then London all happening at once. So like if I'm going to try to run fast in London, I won't be running a marathon in March. Although maybe I'll do the charity half. I feel like that could be something fun to do, a good workout. So we'll see. I'm going to talk to ASICS about that, see if they want to hang out, do something for that race. Edbud says, anything above Bristol is up north. I feel like that's kind of like I don't understand all the nuance of that, but I think that means something different to UK people. Maybe. Martha says, that's such a nuisance to come in with all those coins from Europe. Aren't there donation boxes at the airport? I don't know. You know what's the one thing I could not figure out? Although I'm sure it's just as simple as it looked. Periodically at different places in certain airports, there would just be bottles of waters lined up. And it was like you pay €1 into a box. And it was like a kind of like a kid's like, I'm raising money for UNICEF kind of thing. It was like a box and they said if you put €1 in it, you can grab a water. And I was like, is that really what that is? I couldn't figure that out. So I just would get a coffee from somewhere else. Martha says, for Cutty Sark, isn't there a ship on the label? Yeah, I didn't think it was a real thing. I didn't realize it was based on a true vessel. I just thought it was called Cutty Sark. I thought that was the name of it. Like, I don't think that there's a Captain Morgan, you know? Maybe there was. I don't know. When I was in Treasure Island, Florida, where my in-laws spent the last 2 winters, there's Captain Morgan style cabins everywhere. It's in the town. It's like the town seal has the Captain Morgan style of pirate. But that's kind of what I just equated them as all being like, all right, Captain Morgan has a captain. That's fake, but good marketing. Cutty Sark wants to be a little bit fancier, so they put on like an old timey ship. That's what I used to think until an embarrassingly short time ago. Superjet reminds me it is a scotch. Okay, there we go. I don't think I've ever had it even. Do they sell it in the UK? Do they drink it in the UK? I'm guessing probably not. I feel like in the UK, if you want to drink scotch, you would drink Scottish whiskey. Running kid things, I might be thinking about the big half, which is pretty much the first half of the London Marathon backwards, and it ends at the Cutty Sark. No, I just think that's very generous of you, running kid. I just did not realize. For some reason, I just thought that the ship was at the end of the marathon, like near the finish. But having watched a bunch of Ben Parks videos now, I know that it's not the case. Let's do a couple more, and then I got to go to the post office and annoy some people, I think. I'm going to be a very annoying customer. I'm not going to be annoying, but my shipping needs are going to be very annoying. So that's what I got to do. Oh, that's what I got to do. Jeff Elliott says Sir Henry Morgan was the privateer. Oh, that's what Captain Morgan is? Sir Henry Morgan? So that is a real person? JC says, I'm sure someone named Morgan. And Jeff Elliott says, Sir Henry Morgan. Captain Morgan was a real person. And the Cutty Sark was a real ship. Learning all sorts of things today. That's so funny. Ed Bud said, I gave up on alcohol about 5 months ago. It's actually had a massive positive boost to my fitness. The thing for me is that on a regular basis, we do not go through that much booze in our house. At the beginning of the summer, around 4th of July, all the beer went on sale here, so we stocked up our beer fridge, and we have not had to restock it since. We just don't go through that much. Well, we go through a lot of bubble water, and we go through a lot of I like the non-alcoholic beers too. Those are nice to have like on the evenings, like middle of the week, if you just want a little something after dinner, kind of like a weird kind of digestif, if you will, Vian says, yeah, this is going to begin the #1 running podcast for random London geography and Cutty Sark facts. Yeah, that would be amazing if I get to London and the guy's like, hope you guys like chatty pacers because I got all sorts of facts. That over there, it used to be a chip shop. In that place, they used to sell buttons. I just feel like that's the kind of thing that would be real in London. Like this is the place where they filmed Willy Wonka. I just feel like if that was like that, if that's what the pacer was telling us, and also like we're about to make a sharp left, like those are the things that I want to hear from a pacer. Super just says, if I stocked a beer fridge, my wife would drink everything in a few weeks. Really? I only drink once a week or two. Yeah. Well, then then I'll have a big weekend where I'm either like running in the mountains and there's just a lot of beer there, or at a weekend event like this and there's kind of beer everywhere too. Stevie says that place is a Pizza Rat. Oh man, I loved Pizza Rat. That was fun. Calvin says this podcast is the dog chasing the car. Once we get #1 for real, we won't know what to do. Well, I think we're in luck. Just like a car is always faster than the dog. I don't think this podcast is ever going to be number one. I think it's just, it's not for everyone, and that's okay, because I like the people that it brings in, you know. Andrew Scott says, I want a Boston paster that just sprouts Sam Adams facts. I want one that tells me all about like what used to be or is going to be a Dunkin' Donuts. That's just along the entire course, right there. 10 years ago, it was a standalone Dunkin' Donuts. Then it became a Boston Market. Then they tore it down and put it in a little small plaza. Now it's ground level Dunkin' Donuts again. Like that's what I would love to see. All right. Let's answer one more. Scuba Sun says, all right, speaking of all this pacer talk, have you guys had good experiences with marathon pace groups? I've had a wide variety of experiences with marathon pace groups. Sometimes they're great. A lot of times I feel like I need to let them go. I feel like there's a lot of, I'm very susceptible to nervous energy, and I feel like a lot of times there's a lot of nervous energy in the pace group. So I don't always like to be in it. I usually like to let them start out ahead of me and then just keep them the same distance away from me is my general way that I like to use a pace group. But also, I'm running with a selfie stick too. So I try not to stay too much inside the pace group. So I kind of like keep them within sight distance. But I've had some pace groups that went out really hard, and then I have some that went out perfectly even splits. So I've had a wide variety of things. So they're great to have, but they're not infallible, so don't completely rely on them for your race plan, Daz Dairy wants to know, do they still have Boston Market? It was called I remember when it was Boston Chicken, and then I think they started selling meatloaf, which that was my favorite thing to eat at Boston Market. And then it became Boston Market. And then I don't know what happened to that. They had it in college, I remember. We ate it a lot in college. And then that was 2000 or so. So that was a long time ago. So I have no idea. There used to be one where I used to take my kids to go swimming all the time. But like there was something weird about it. It had a dining room, but I never saw anyone eating in it. You know what I mean? And so people only picked up drive-through from there. It was weird. All right. All right. I got to go take care of these packages. Hopefully I can get it sorted soon. Hopefully I can get to you guys soon and we can get it figured out. Yeah. And then tomorrow I probably won't have a video ready because I just want to give myself plenty of time to take care of this singlets situation. But we will do another live stream Thursday. Probably do another unboxing. I got a special package. I got a couple special packages. So I'll pick one of those and we'll unbox that tomorrow. And then we'll hang out again. All right, same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.